Welcome to On the Mat with Lydia, that's me. And whatever has brought you to your yoga practice today, you are very welcome here. Today's practice is a nice short and sweet flow for your hips. So if you spend a lot of time sitting or driving or even running or cycling, you might find that you have a lot of tightness or discomfort around your hips. So this will be a short and simple practice to start to move into the hips and give you hopefully a little bit of relief throughout your day. So let's get on the mat. Let's begin our practice today in a variation of our butterfly pose or Baddha Konasana. So bringing the soles of your feet together, let your knees open out wide, and we'll take the heels farther away from the body than we usually do in this pose. So we're making almost a diamond shape with the legs. Now, if having your knees open wide causes discomfort for your knees or hips, please feel free to slide a prop of some sort underneath your legs. Now, wiggling around so that you can sit up tall, take an inhale here. As you exhale, reach your heart forward and fold just about 50% of the way. So not looking for our biggest, deepest stretch yet here in the practice, just going about halfway into your forward fold. And starting off with this pose today so that we can kind of take stock of what's happening in the hips. Moving your awareness down into the sensations of the pelvis. Noticing if you're finding any areas that feel particularly crunchy or tight. Maybe finding some spaces that are a little more open. And as with any yoga practice, using our breath to really deepen our experience in these poses. So you might imagine now that as you're breathing, your inhales are moving down into the base of your pelvis and creating this expansion around your hips. And with each exhalation, feel that your body can relax, letting go of any undue tightness. So when we talk about working with the hips, we're not only thinking about stretching and opening the hips, but we're also thinking about finding some strength and stability here as well. So we'll be working with both throughout our practice today. And recognizing that each of us has a natural tendency to either be really mobile or really strong. So you might find for you throughout this practice that your hips are a little more prone to being flexible, to being open, to get deep into these stretches. On the flip side, you might find that it's more natural for you to have strong hips, to do these strengthening postures, and it might be a little harder to really sink into the stretches. Now, I mention this to say that there's no right or wrong in this. There's nothing wrong with your body if you have a tendency towards one or the other. We're simply using all of this as a tool to build awareness of ourselves, and in that way really serve our bodies in the best way that we can. So let's stay for 3 more rounds of breath in this butterfly shape, allowing the hips just a little more space to open up. And connecting deeply with that rhythm of your breath, let's take another inhale here. And exhale. With your inhale, slowly rise back up to a nice tall seated position. Bringing your hands to the outer edges of your legs, slowly bring your knees towards one another. Feel that adjustment for the hips. Then bringing your hands back behind you for support, walk your feet out a little wider than your hips, and we'll start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. So dropping your knees to one side and then to the other, allowing for this rotation through the hips. So during that butterfly, we were really focusing on opening the hips and external rotation. Now in this shape, we're getting external rotation through the outer leg, internal rotation through the inner leg. Now, I'm mentioning all these kind of technical terms, which you really don't need to know to practice the yoga. But I know that some people really are interested in more of the anatomy of it, in what's going on in the body. So if you're that kind of person, that's for you. Now, as you settle your knees back into stillness, we'll cross the shins once again and rock over onto hands and knees. Take your time with this transition. Allow yourself a few wiggles to settle into this new shape. And we'll start to get into a bit of that hip stability, that hip strengthening that I mentioned here. So shoulders are about stacked over the wrist, hips over the knees, and we're finding a hugging in of navel to spine, that nice core support going on here. Let's start with that left leg, tucking your toes behind you. Slide your left heel back. For now, keeping your foot on the floor, looking for length through the back line of your leg, and maybe taking a few rocks forward and back just to feel that stretch through the calf. Now reinforce that connection to your core, lifting your belly button in and up. And with that strength of your core, begin to lift your left leg to hover over the mat. Now you can flex or point the toes, whatever feels natural to you. We're going to bring that left leg up and over to the right side of your mat, crossing behind the right leg. And then make a semicircle, lifting up and over to the left side of your mat. So again, up and over to the right, making a nice big rainbow, and then back up and over to the left. Now your breath can be natural here. There's no need to link the breath with movement unless that's what naturally happens for you. Just seeing that you are continuing to breathe here. So with the breath, we're allowing for a bit of softness within the strength. We're not tensing our whole body. Now notice too, as you make these little rainbows behind you, if you start to shift your weight way over onto that right side, see if you can recenter your hips, bring a little pressure into the left palm. Beautiful. Now the next time that left leg crosses behind the right, pause there. Keeping that leg reaching to a diagonal, begin to look back over your right shoulder and see if you can glance at that left heel. Keep hugging the navel in and up, feeling a little side bend here, stretching through that left side waist. Let's stay for another breath in and breath out. Inhale, bring your head and shoulders back to center. As you exhale, bend your left knee, keep it crossed behind your right. Now we're going to take a similar motion, still working with the left leg, but now keeping your knee bent. So from here, bringing your left knee back behind you and opening it out to the left. And then going back, crossing your knee behind you, cross left leg behind the right. So opening up the hip, we'll call this our fire hydrant because it looks like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. And then crossing your leg behind, we'll call this our dragon, squeezing the thighs together. Opening up to your fire hydrant, keep the core strong. Closing off into your dragon. Let's take 2 more here at your pace. Remember, keep the breath natural. And really feel what's going on in your hip, in your glute, as you're going through these motions. Now, the next time that you open your knee out to the left, please stay there. Little baby pulses up to the sky, pulsing up, up. Keep breathing as you pulse for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the leg up, reach the leg out, straightening through the knee, and then lightly land your left foot to the floor. So we're setting up for our gate pose here. Left leg to the side, right knee underneath the right hip. Use an inhale to rise up to stand on that right knee, reach to the sky. As you exhale, reach up and over to the left, finding your side bend. So right hip grounds down as right arm reaches up and over. Left hand gently resting on the left leg. Finding your gaze wherever it feels comfortable for your neck. And just seeing wherever you choose to land, that your shoulders stay back, your heart stays open. Let's take another inhale here. Exhale completely. Awesome. Inhale, come back up through center, nice tall spine. As you exhale, hands to the mat once again. Let's keep that left leg out by our sides. That right leg is still in tabletop position. We're simply going to start to rock the hips back, almost like you were coming towards a child's pose. And then bring the hips back forward. Sending the hips back, keep the spine long. And then rocking the hips forward. Now, as you do this, hopefully you're feeling something going on that inner left thigh into the hip here. If you'd like to add on, you can explore lifting your toes as you sink back, and then dropping the toes, lifting the heel as you come forward. Now, one last little note here as we continue to rock. See that your hips are moving in a straight line, forward and back. So we're not letting the hips kind of skew off to the side. We're only coming back so far as your hips are staying centered. Beautiful job. Let's take one more here, rocking back. And rocking up to stack. Beautiful. Once you've restacked the joints, bring your left knee in to meet your right and shake it out a little bit. Beautiful. So if you need a moment to come off of the knees, please feel free to take a down dog here. Or if you'd like to cushion your knees, you can fold up your mat a couple of times or grab a blanket if you have one. We're going to take all that on the other side, starting to work into that right hip. So here we go. Planting your palms, find your tabletop position. Tuck your right toes behind you, slide your right heel back. We're starting with that calf stretch. While you're here, this is a really great time to find your setup through the rest of your body. Hips and shoulders pointing down towards the floor. Gaze slightly forward and down. Then lifting your belly button up towards your spine, finding that strong core. Using your core as you inhale to lift your right leg. Let it hover. Now we're going to start to make those rainbows here, starting with the legs straight. So bringing the right leg up and over to the left side of your mat. And then up and over, crossing to the right side of your mat. Up and over to the left, cross behind the left leg. And up and over to the right, slightly opening the hip. Keep this going at your pace. Again, breath is natural. Whatever happens with the breath here is totally fine. Keeping this awareness of the rest of your body, even though the right leg is moving, noticing how the core works for you, how the arms are working. And feeling that you can keep some weight shifted into that right hand so that we're staying fairly centered in the body. Awesome job. Let's take one more full round. Beautifully done. The next time that your right leg crosses behind the left, stay there, please. Continuing to reach your heel back to that diagonal. Take your gaze over your left shoulder, maybe getting a glimpse of that right heel. Hands are still pushing away from the mat. Navel is still lifted. Just adding in this side stretch for the right side waist. Let's stay for another inhale here. Exhale completely. Inhale, head and shoulders back to center. Exhale, bending the right knee. Keep it crossed behind the left. So we're going to take those same rainbows, this time with the knee bent. Let's see how it goes. So right knee circles back and opens out to the side, finding that hydrant shape. And then circling the leg back, cross behind the left leg for dragon. Opening the knee up, out to the side. And then circling the leg back, crossing the legs. Let's take 3 more rounds here. Noticing how this feels for the hip. Hopefully you're feeling there's a lot going on to keep the leg lifted and strong. And again, you might notice this side is a little easier, a little more challenging. Likely one leg is more dominant than the other. Now the next time that you open that right leg out to the right, please pause there. Let's take our little pulses. Pulsing up and up. Try and keep that leg lifted for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it up. Start to straighten your right leg. And then land your right foot on the floor, setting up for gate pose. So right leg is out by your side, left hip stacked over left knee. Take an inhale to rise up tall, reach your arms to the sky. Exhale, reach up and over towards that right leg. Finding that arch through the left side waist, left hip down, left rib cage up. So really when we're taking these side bends, we're looking to create some space between the hips and the rib cage so we can really find that stretch through the waist. Let's take another inhale here. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, rising back up tall. As you exhale, hands come to the mat in front of you. Now that right leg is still out by your side, left hip stacked over left knee. We're going to shift the hips straight back towards the heel and then rock back up until your hip is stacked. Let's keep that going, rocking straight back and rocking straight forward. Now remember, we're only going so far as the hips stay even here. So if you feel that you get back here and your hips start to sway side to side, it's okay to keep this movement small. And if you'd like to add on just a little bit more here, maybe the right toes lift as you rock back and the right toes drop as you rock forward. Just a few more rounds with your breath, looking for some sensation in the inner right thigh here. And the next time that you rock forward, pause there. Bring your right knee in to meet the left tabletop position and wiggle it out. Beautiful. Planting your palms, tuck your toes. Lift your hips up and back into your downward facing dog. Take a moment to feel into your hips here, bending and straightening the legs, maybe shaking the hips side to side. See if you feel a little bit different here after some of that work. And with your next inhale, stepping your right foot up to the top of your mat, gently drop your left knee down, coming into a low lunge shape. Fingertips are going to stay framing your right foot, so if you'd like to find blocks, please feel free. With your inhale, shoulders will draw back as you sink your hips. As you exhale, rock your hips back, straighten the right leg any amount for a hamstring stretch. Now we're going to take this one breath, one movement. Go at your own pace. As you inhale, rebending your right knee, find your low lunge, heart lifts. As you exhale, rocking your hips back for that hamstring stretch, a little bit of a forward fold. Inhale forward, find low lunge. Exhale back, find that hamstring stretch. Twice more, please. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, hammy. Last round, inhale, rock forward. Exhale, rock the hips back. Now inhale, rocking forward, find your low lunge. This time, let's bring our right hand to the inside edge of your right foot and heel toe your right foot even wider on your mat. Setting up for our lizard lunge here. So really opening into that right hip, stretching through the top of the left thigh. We're gonna stay fairly active in our lizard for today. So staying lifted on your palms, maybe up on blocks. Pushing down through your front foot, keeping the back toes tucked. Feel your heart moving forward, almost like a little cobra pose here. And then hug navel up to spine. With your inhale, start to lift your back knee, kick through your heel, turning on that left quad. As you exhale, slowly drop your knee back to the floor. Again, inhale, lift your back knee, really squeeze through the thigh, through the glute. Exhale, gently lower back down. 3 more, inhale, lift your knee. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. You got it. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Now inhale, lifting your back knee. This time as you exhale, walk your hands to that left side of your mat. Turn all 10 toes and find your wide-legged forward fold. So facing that long edge of your mat, feet are about parallel, pushing down through the outer edges of your feet to really give you support for your body here. Knees can be bent a little or a lot, looking for that stretch in the inner thighs. Coming back to the rhythm of your breath here. Remember those inhales moving into the pelvis, creating space. Exhales helping your body to relax. Now with your next inhale, bend both knees, find a little halfway lift, rising the chest. As you exhale, walk your hands to the back of your mat as you turn all 10 toes and find your lunge with left foot forward. Back knee drops down. We'll start with our low lunge, hands framing the left foot. As you inhale, shoulders draw back, hips sink down. As you exhale, rock your hips back, straighten the front leg any amount. Moving one breath, one movement, you know what to do. Inhale, rebend the front knee, low lunge. Exhale, send your hips back, hamstring stretch. 3 more times, please move at your pace. And moving through that range of motion where your body feels most comfortable here. So we all naturally have this range of motion that is functional for our joints. And oftentimes in yoga practice, we're kind of challenging that functional range of motion. So it's okay if you don't come super deep into these postures. We're simply looking for sensation. The next time that you rock forward into your low lunge, please stay there. Settle your left hand to the inside edge of your left foot and heel toe your left foot nice and wide to the outer edge of your mat. Staying lifted up in our lizard pose for today, chest is proud, hips are dropping towards the mat. Looking for sensation in your left hip and the front of your right thigh. Now back toes are tucked under. As you inhale, lift your back knee, squeeze your lower glute and the front of your thigh. As you exhale, slowly rebend your knee as you relax those muscles. Again, inhale, lift your back knee, squeezing, activating. As you exhale, gently lower the knee and relax. Nice, 3 more times. Inhale, lift your knee, squeeze. Exhale, drop your knee, relax. Twice more, inhale, lift the knee. Exhale, lower. Nice job, last time. Inhale, lift, feel that engagement. Exhale, lower. Now inhale to lift your back knee. This time as you exhale, turning into your wide-legged fold, toes facing that long edge of your mat. Upper body just drawing down in between the feet. Keeping that softness into the knees here. And that'll give space for your hamstrings to open up as well. And if it feels comfortable for you, you might reach for your ankles and take a bit of organic movement, swaying side to side, bending one knee then the other. Really feeling into your hips, into your spine, seeing where maybe you've created a little more space and what parts are feeling still a little bit tight and crunchy. No judgment, no expectations here, purely conscious awareness. Now from this wide-legged forward fold, bringing your fingertips back towards the floor, bending your knees. Take an inhale, find that halfway lift. As you exhale, bring your hands up to your hips. Inhale, rise all the way to standing. Take your time as you rise up. And then heel toe or step your feet together until you find your Tadasana, mountain pose. Palms settle together in front of your heart. Take a moment to close the eyes or soften your gaze. And notice how it feels just to stand here, supported by your strong legs, breathing into your body. And take a moment to thank yourself for arriving onto your mat and taking this time for you. I thank you so much for meeting me on the mat. Namaste.